Last week, we looked at some of the cut and added content from Fatal Frame 2, including various enemies, areas, and even storylines. So if you missed that, you can find a link in the description. But this week, let's instead take a look at some trivia and tidbits related to the game, particularly when it comes to the designs. The devs have revealed a lot of interesting stuff, particularly changes they have made for the remake. So, let's dig in. And again, this isn't an exhaustive list, but some of the stuff I found to be the most interesting. So the main visual for the remake shows Mio and Mayu sitting in a similar position to the cover for the original game. But this time, they've reversed their positions. Why? Because it seems you couldn't see Mayu's injured leg very well, and this was something they wanted to better showcase this time around. And on that note, originally Mayu's leg wasn't even bandaged at all. After all, if this was an injury from her childhood, why would it still be bandaged now? However, with the technology of the time, it wasn't always obvious that Mayu was supposed to be injured, so they added the bandage as a clear visual indicator. When it comes to some of the newer outfits this time, we have the twins wearing some gorgeous kimonos. The concept behind Mio's red kimono is basically a wearable version of the game's main menu screen, with the red supposed to stand out in Minakami's gloomy environments. Mayu's, meanwhile, features the white spider lilies from behind Kureha Shrine, and the kimono itself is black, so that, unlike Mio, Mayu can melt into the dark, gloomy village. The peony hair ornaments you can put on the twins also arose from a desire to have the girls wearing crimson butterflies somehow, with the intention being that the red one was again for Mio, while the blue was for Mayu, as this would match her gothic dress. And speaking of the gothic dresses, these were also designed so that when the twins hold hands, their sleeves would form a crimson butterfly. The gold detailing in particular was supposed to resemble the vein-like structure of a butterfly's wing. Neat, huh? As for the summer cardigans, Mio's is pastel blue to help express the game's early summer setting, while also invoking the image of forget-me-nots, a flower that symbolizes true love in Japan. Mayu's, meanwhile, is pale crimson, once again to conjure up the image of flowers. Now, setting costumes aside for the time being, you may recall that the character of Itsuki was inspired by a dream that director Shibata once had, featuring a woman with white hair. However, there were already so many women in the game that he decided to make this figure a young man instead. For his design, they wanted to evoke the images of mayflies and white moths. For the remake, they also paid close attention to his facial features, as they feared he looked too similar to Mio in the original. This time around, they tried to make him look a little older and a little sadder. As for Makabe, he's supposed to look a little rough to show that this is a man who does not care for material comforts. All he is concerned about is his work, and as such, his original design was slightly changed to include a scruffier beard as well. This is a man who's always out in the field and cares little for ensuring he's constantly well-groomed. Despite being a youth in this game, Munakata has appeared in the Fatal Frame series before, and his design for 2 tried to keep him close to the original. His kimono is green, to show him being, well, literally a little green and inexperienced compared to the older version we got to know in the first game. But his remake design was also reportedly the hardest to finish, because they didn't want him to end up being too generic. The team tried to create a young man who was, at a glance, visibly kind, sensitive, but also weak and ready to grow into the man we eventually know he'll be. Miyako, being the first ghost we encounter in the game, was designed to look like, well, a typical Japanese ghost, with long hair and white clothing. Her clothing is also frayed and tattered, and her hair messy, so she's more dynamic in battle. As for her partner Masumi, he's far more beat up, covered in bloody cuts and gashes to show the violent end he met at the hands of the Kusabi. And while he originally lost his jacket as a ghost, for the remake, they decided to keep it. Being one of the few modern ghosts in the game, they liked how this made him stand out slightly compared to the rest. Speaking of the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Kusabi was, of course, designed to be the most fearsome looking in the game. You're supposed to look at this guy and go, ha ha, nope, and recognize at a glance that you're not really supposed to fight this guy, just run. His remake design was originally going to feature the faces of his victims in his clothing to add an extra layer of fear. But during testing they realized you couldn't really see them, so they were removed. Ultimately, they channeled their efforts into making sure his face conveyed how much pain and suffering he was in, and overall worked to ensure that you knew at a glance this guy was outright evil and not to be trifled with. The sunken woman was designed to be, well, wet. Something the devs got very familiar with when making Fatal Frame 5. She was originally supposed to appear anywhere in the village where there was water, and was originally designed to look creepy, but for the remake, they wanted her to be more beautiful and sad. And she took some inspiration from all those floating water ghosts in Maiden of Blackwater as well, now moving through the air like she's underwater. If you're wondering why the mourners wear blindfolds when they already have their eyes sewn shut, again, the reasoning behind this was the same as Mayu's leg. The blindfold is a visual indicator to let you know they cannot see, and rely on sound to find Mio. They're also kinda buff, but in a lean way, to show they do all the physical work down by the abyss. Like, tossing bodies into it. Speaking of tossing, the fallen woman was designed with an extra large kimono, so you could better see it moving as she flops around on the ground. Her skin is white, to show just how afraid she was at the moment of her death. And if you're brave enough to get up close and personal in the remake, you can also see her blue veins as well. The devs also reportedly worked extra hard on her leg movement when she's flopping around like a Magikarp. Chitose, the younger sister of the Tachibana twins, was originally designed without a face, symbolizing her poor eyesight. This didn't work out so well in game, so she did end up with visible features. But she ended up becoming so beloved in the original game that, this time around, the devs put extra effort into designing her face, trying to make her look like a cat hiding in the dark. I don't care, I'm still teabagging her for making me run around in the dark all that time. As for some of the more generic ghosts, the succumbed man was designed to look, well, super generic, because the darkness has melted all sense of identity. This guy's just a shell of his former self, and his visuals were inspired by zombies and scarecrows. There's also a female version who originally had no hair, but this made her indistinguishable from the male version, so she got her hair back. The Seeker is one of the guys who was, as the name suggests, sent to look for the twins. He holds a torch to make him stand out, but they changed the light of the torch to blue so that it wouldn't be confusing with the other red flames around the village. The Sickle Bearer was apparently a guy who liked to immediately choose violence, as he was also sent to look for the twins, but instead of a torch, took a sickle with him. He's supposed to inspire fear, as he obviously has a little bloodlust. And for the remake, they gave him longer, luscious locks so they'd flow in the breeze as he rushes you. If you want nice, thick, lustrous hair, I guess the real secret all along was just to live in Minakami. The pole bearer, meanwhile, was designed to be a big burly guy who would attempt to grab you with his hands, like Japanese Zangief ready to pile drive you into Pain City, population U. The devs decided they wanted someone who could attack better from a distance, however, so he was given a pole instead. Unlike the bloodlusty sickle bearer, however, this pole wasn't designed to kill, but rather just capture and maybe maim a little while doing so. Sounds like a you problem, not a him problem, you know? The devs also revealed some interesting information related to the design of various items in the game. For example, did you know that the herbal medicine has the name of its maker on the side? However, it seems the devs weren't able to read the name of the original maker, presumably due to the low resolution of the old PS2 graphics. So for the remake, they created a new one. The herbal medicine you pick up in and around Minakami Village was created by Kagomorido, a fictional company they envisioned as an old, long-established business from Toyama. Yes, I'm not sure we ever needed to know that, but honestly, I'm here for the absolutely random lore. Ever wanted to know what the lunar incense smells like? Apparently, it's the scent of a Queen of the Night flower. I'm not sure what that smells like, but I'll take their word for it. This item, interestingly, was also supposed to appear in the original game, but they never found a way to properly use it, and so it was removed. It makes its triumphant, fragrant return this time, however, as an item to boost Mio's willpower. Wish I could find some incense that did that. It's also kind of hard to see in-game, but the talismans that you find around Kureha Shrine were also designed with various butterflies, family crests, and the kanji for twins on them. And even the newspaper clippings have interesting little details that you'll never see unless you really zoom in on the extracted files. For example, the newspaper talking about Masumi going missing has a cheeky little ad for Kiryu dolls. Not sure I want to buy one of those. The doll manual also features a real explanation of Edo period mechanical dolls. This is the type of detail I love to see. And I won't go into detail for each one, but the various tomes you find around Minakami were also designed this time with unique covers to match their themes. For example, the Taboo tome features a large X to indicate that this one contains forbidden knowledge, and the Martyr tome features ropes like those you see in the cutting ritual. On that note, as a massive camellia fan, you may have noticed that there's a massive camellia tree outside the Kurosawa house. When we see Makabe meeting the Kurosawa family for the first time, we also see camellia flowers dropping to the ground. If you're wondering why they play such a large part of this game, apparently it's because camellia don't drop petals, but rather the entire flower as they die. Again, it's a part of that split versus whole symbolism the game has going, and in particular, they're supposed to make you think of decapitation. You can also find a camellia design on the Twin Tome. Those twin dolls around the village look familiar, right? That's because their design was taken directly from the North American packaging of the original game. The devs loved this design so much that they ended up using it pretty much wholesale for the doll hunt around the village. However, they did adjust their proportions just a little to look more doll-like and less human-like. This is also largely the same design the dolls in the Tachibana house have, minus the red cord. But if you're eagle-eyed, you may have noticed that one of the dolls has a red stain on it that looks just like half a butterfly. The exact same design Saye has. And of course, you can find butterfly designs pretty much everywhere throughout the village. On doors, scrolls, items, paper screens, etc. How many were you able to find throughout the game? Naturally, this isn't everything from the game, but some of the stuff I found to be the most interesting. What did you guys think? What design features did you especially like this time around? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.